Hello, you're watching West Bloomfield 911. I'm Officer Rick, and on behalf of Chief Mike Patton and my brothers and sisters in the West Bloomfield Police Department, welcome to the show. As always, to my right, but we're in a little different seating style today. To my right, though, is Officer David McNealy, my co-host, my partner, my friend. How are you, David?
Good morning. Good.
Good, good. You all ready and excited?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Chomping at the bit.
Chomping at the bit. Okay, good. I've seen you chomp at a few things, so good today, just a bit. So, and as always, we have two special guests today, though. We have Patty Narozny. She's the executive producer of Hot Works Orchard Lake Fine Art Fair. Patty, how are you?
Hello. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming. And of course, we have the star of the art fair, Charles Roberts, the event crew captain, also from the Hot Works Orchard Lake Fine Art Fair. Charles, how are you?
Fine, and thank you for having us.
We're glad you're here. Now, don't run away. We have a segment that we do, and it's called the Corner Spotlight. And David is going to highlight one of our employees. So, David, go right ahead.
Good morning, guys. Hey, we're going to corner spotlight Celeste Jackson, one of our dispatchers. She belongs to the Communication Bureau, and she likes to be called CJ. She's been with us for a few months now. She hired in back on 15 June of this year. Something very interesting I find about CJ is that she worked for the Detroit Police Department for 20 years. I know she was a road officer at one point, and I'm going to have to pick her brain on that. I bet she's got some great stories to tell, I bet. Hey, guys. One of her favorite foods, one of mine too, is pasta Alfredo. So I love that too.
Brother.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll have to talk about that too, but you got some good recipes for that. CJ likes mystery novels, and Rick and I were talking about off camera before we started. One of her favorite movies is Tombstone with Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer. And Rick was telling me that she loves the movie, but she likes the actors too. So we'll have to talk about that too, CJ. You like Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell.
She liked looking at them, and I like looking at the movie.
Some of CJ's favorite music, R&B, classical, and country western, all choices in my iPad too, or iPod too. So some of her other accomplishments she likes to garden and travel. I know that she's proud of raising her two boys, and I'm going to tell you one of her favorite quote is make the most of each day and live each day as if it were your last. That's a great quote. I bet everybody would agree to that. So we're going to turn the corner spotlight off, CJ, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, and CJ, we want to thank you for your years of law enforcement at Detroit. It was a lot of kudos to you, and we thank you. Folks, we're going to give you a safety tip of the day, and that's about keeping your kids safe online. There's a few things you need to follow, because just like in the real world, we got to protect those kiddies in the virtual world, especially since they have all these iPhones and such that they can carry around that gives them complete access to the whole world. Remember, talk to your kids about online safety. You need to be their first barrier between them and the bad guy. And guard their personal information, and you have to help tell them to guard their personal information as well. Of course, that's names, social security numbers, phone numbers, etc. And you, as a parent, need to know the basics about online safety regarding popular apps that the kids are going to use. So whatever's coming down the pike, and it's always changing, you need to find out about it as a parent so you can help guard your kid with those apps and those online sites. Also, learn the warning signs about cyberbullying. If your children have a change in attitude, grade changes, personality changes, that might be an indication that they're being bullied online, and so you need to help them. So that's kind of 5 steps right there to give you a start to help keep your kids safe online. Remember, they are our most important asset, and they are our future, and we want to protect them. So let's watch those kiddies. Folks, we're going to come right back with our special guests, Patty Narozny, executive producer, and Charles Roberts, the event crew captain, both from Hot Works Orchard Lake Fine Art Fair. Don't go away.
You're watching West Bloomfield 911 on Civic Center TV, a service of the Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission. For more information or to watch episodes on demand, visit civiccentertv.com/WB911. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
The West Bloomfield Police Foundation raises money to help those who protect and serve the community. Whether it's emotional or financial support, the foundation provides a helping hand to officers, their families, and those in the community. For more information on the West Bloomfield Police Foundation, contact Kurt Lawson at 248-975-8900 or visit wbpolicefoundation.org.
Hello and welcome back to West Bloomfield 911. Again, our special guests are Patty Narozny and Charles Roberts. Thank you both for coming here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you. You know, we've been very fortunate, I've been able to work the art fair, and David worked with me this year. And we've been there for several years. I got to tell you, that's a heck of a program. And my wife and kids come out, and of course, they always end up spending money. I need to talk to him about that. But anyway, let's talk about the art fair. Patty, how you got started doing it and what makes this art fair so special?
Well, thank you for having us, and I want to say thank you for keeping our event safe, which is very important nowadays. West Bloomfield Police does an excellent job. Officer O'Rourke, who has passed, was one of the first officers who always worked our show too. We actually have some pictures of him working our event. So we really appreciate West Bloomfield Township and West Bloomfield Police and West Bloomfield Fire Department with everything that you guys do to help keep the event safe. So thank you so much.
Thanks for saying so.
And how I got started, well, the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show now was recently voted number 57 in the entire nation out of more than 4,000 art fairs.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And we're top 100 in the country out of more than 4,000 other art fairs the last 10 years in a row. And our focus is quality with the visual arts, keeping the buy, sell, import out of our Juried Fine Art and Fine Craft Show. And we make sure that all work is original and personally handmade by the art show and by the artist in the art show. Community enrichment, diversity, much diversity among our artist community and the people who attend the art shows, and the youth art kids too, and fostering art education among the youth. I got started just a lot of different things I used to do. I used to work at NBC in Detroit, WDIV, as an account executive, and that's how I learned to be so media savvy with the event. And I also used to work at Metro Times for many years. And then I worked for an outside producer. We used to do 350 shows nationwide. And they went out of business, and I started locally with community events with Comerica Taste Fest, Royal Oak Clay and Glass, and Detroit Festival of the Arts. And then the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show is our flagship show. And I was in the middle of events, and an artist, Roy Schallenberg, who has since passed. Originally, the show, as everybody probably knows, was held at Orchard Lake St. Mary's. And Roy Schallenberg was a painter who many of West Bloomfield residents must have his paintings in their homes. Was the one who said, Patty, we need you in our industry. And so I worked Orchard Lake Fine Art Show and other events while investing in that event. And now we're one of the top art shows in the country for all of our 4 existing events, which include Estero, Florida, and downtown Boca Raton. And that's how we bring artists to Michigan who, very quality fine art and fine craft, who aren't seen in the Southeast Michigan area at other art shows. We have a great national and standing reputation for keeping a quality event. Every detail is paid attention to from start to finish, including the artists who are juried. Here's an example of Scott Balas, who is a glass artist from Illinois. And the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show in West Bloomfield is the only retail show that he participates because he sells his work in galleries. And you can see the quality of this glass. And he was trained by the Lawton family, and Charles Lawton was a major, very popular artist. So I always say art is your best investment, And anyone who owns Scott Bayless artwork is a perfect example of that.
Well, you know, I'm glad you brought these because it was really an education for David. He thought it was just a fancy beer stein, and I had to tell him otherwise. So.
What's something like this cost?
This vase is around $700, and the smaller vase is around $500. But I purchased these. This is already 8 years old at least, and this is about 4. And this is unique. You're not going to find anyone else doing this.
Yeah.
So I always say art's your best investment, and this is a perfect example of it. Scott Bayless, I know a lot of people are his collectors here because, again, this is the only show that he participates.
Well, let's talk about that a little. You had mentioned about some of the background and stuff. You obviously are the executive producer, but I don't care how good someone is at the top. They're only as good as the people that work with them as well. And you have the event crew captain, your right-hand man.
My right-hand man,
Charles
Roberts. You got it.
Absolutely. And I know when we're out there, I see Charles running around that whole place like a chicken with his head cut off.
I see you both running like crazy,
Yeah.
but you know, he's your go-to guy, right?
And talk about how you and Charles, how you got together started, and you know how he helps you through the whole thing now.
Well, Charles actually raised my nephew, Taylor Texas Shaw, my sister's son, and has been a family brother from another mother, we say,
Right.
for at least 23 years, right?
Yes.
So how long have you been working with her, Charles?
A little bit over 10 years. I came with her sister and brother-in-law as a guest to the art show.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it. And I've been with her ever since, over 11 years.
Wow. And you were saying off camera that you're going down to another state, and now, of course, Charles is going with you. What
yeah.
do you do as the event crew captain to help the art fair succeed?
Well, we keep our crew together, you know, putting up things, and I'm limited, you know, overseeing everything. I do all the shopping, you know, for our artists, you know, getting fruits. I drive the trucks, you know.
Charles is very key to all the operations part
that-
pre-show.
that was-
People don't realize all the work that is
prep, yeah.
involved preparing for the
Right.
event.
Right.
For example, we have West Bloomfield Schools, West Bloomfield Township, everyone sees Kego Harbor, Commerce Township, Waterford Township. They all permit us to hang very large banners in their communities
Right.
to help advertise the event. All of those huge banners have to be taken out of storage. They have to be dropped off. We have various,
So you coordinate a lot of
he,
that.
he's my go-to man.
Yeah, you're the point of contact. for
Yeah.
that
Yes,
stuff.
he's the person I can trust as my right-hand man at the event and who has my back.
He absolutely does. I can tell you that from
Oh,
being
yeah.
there, from being there this year.
Yep.
And so, for example, we added a new show in Asheville, North Carolina, and this is a perfect way and a perfect opportunity. And why I did this is because Asheville is going to bring us artists to the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show. More artists who have not been to this area before, and it's a result of Hotworks and the great reputation that we have with the artists. I personally know 8,000 of the art fair artists and have gone to more than 1,000 art fairs nationwide. So as executive producer, I'm also financial backer of the event.
Yeah.
And so our focus is quality. We have up to 175 artists that we can put into this event. And the last couple of years, you know, the economy is just making a comeback. And we only had 130 to 140. We don't put 40 extra artists in the show that really don't belong. We want to have something for everyone. And even though this is a $500 or $700 piece, we do put people in whose work is from $35 on up, as long as their work is original and personally handmade. And I must say the show is juried by art professionals.
When you say juried, what does that mean for our viewers?
Okay, juried does not mean juried, okay? People have to know who is doing the jurying and the history behind the show. For example, there are, and I'm not going to mention any other events, but there are many events in Southeast Michigan where there are juried shows, but probably as much as 95% of that event is not permitted in a Hotworks show. It's juried by art professionals who have more than 120 years plus combined experience, who have been with me again for many, many years. They include, many people know, Miss Dear Ann Kuffler, she owned Ariana Gallery for 26 years between Birmingham and Royal Oak.
Wow.
And she's actually the one who gave me direction in what to look for. I didn't have an art background. I have a corporate finance degree from Wayne State University.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I have an advertising background and a show production background. Now I have an art background.
Well, let me ask you about that, because you kind of learned as you went along. Now, I was looking at your bios, and I did see that you graduated from Wayne State, and of course I will always have a soft spot for Wayne State because my son graduated from there. But I was looking also at Charles, and you've lived and worked in San Francisco, in Germany,
Yes.
and New York City before coming back here. What was your background? Was it in art at all?
No, it wasn't art. In San Francisco, my uncle had a tailor shop, you know,
Okay.
and I moved out there. I learned to work with the tailor business, you know.
Okay.
Then my previous job, I worked at Mount Children Health Center, you know, in Flint with the Mount Foundation,
Yes.
and that's when I moved to San Francisco. Then I came back. They heard I was back in town, and the president, Arthur Turey, God rest his soul, they called me back up. They said, "Charles, we want you back in your position again." And I worked there for over 11 years until I moved over to Germany, you know, as a civilian. I wasn't in the military, but as a civilian worker, I worked on a military base in the Army Post Office. I worked there in Germany for over a year. And I toured Europe, you know, when my time's off.
Right.
So after that, I moved from there. I went to New York City, where I worked at the South Bronx Development Center. And I worked there for over a year and a half. And I had the opportunity of going up in the World Trade Center. You know, I still got my badge, you know. And then I came here and worked with her sister for over 11 years till I retired, you know. And I've been with the art show, you know.
Now,
At McNealy, yeah.
and now you're working harder still.
In a way, you can say.
Yes, he is working harder.
But
Definitely work hard.
oh yeah,
It's a-
but
seen
you've
But I
both
love
learned
it.
about
I
the
love
art.
it, yes.
Yeah.
And he says he doesn't help at the event, but there's so much detail that
Oh,
is
yeah.
involved with setting it up. And yes, he does help. We pay attention to every single detail. Every sponsor has sponsor banners. He helps hang them.
Yeah.
We have professionally skirted tables throughout the event. Charles pays attention to those kind of details, making sure the show is really clean,
Yeah.
beautiful. We want it spick and span. I must, yeah.
Yes.
And we want you to have your water. You know?
I was, you know, and I was going to mention it because, well, July gets pretty hot in Michigan.
Right.
Yeah.
And believe me, I am very thankful when I see you guys go by. I'm going, water, water.
You guys just provide that for all the guests.
We do. That's an artist amenity that HotWorks has for all of our shows. We also have 2,500 in Professional Artist Awards as an amenity for this show. And Zooks on You was a painter from Elgin, Illinois, who won our $1,000 Best of Show this year. And we also have an Artist Awards breakfast, and Yardbirds from Kego Harbor, who's part of the show, helped support the Artist Awards breakfast on Sunday morning with some brisket, and
Yep.
we had New York bagels, original Jewish bagels from New York Bagel in West Bloomfield. And so it's a way that we show our appreciation to the people in the event, and just it's hot, and if we can't give them a banana and water, I mean, really.
But a good time is had by all, I'm telling you.
Right.
Now, let's go over a couple things you did, and I know you wanted to mention a few things. We were talking about the 501c3 you have, the Institute for the Arts and Education. Why don't you explain a little bit about that?
Yes, the Institute for the Arts and Education is our 501c3 nonprofit organization which focuses on visual arts.
And if anyone wants to donate to it, do you have a number they can call, or where can they go to donate?
That's a good question. They can, hotworks.org or artsandeducationinc.org is a
There
way
we
to
go.
contact us. And it's our 501c3 which focuses on visual arts. Again, keeping the buy, sell, import out of our juried shows. It's a major problem nationally, and HotWorks is working aggressively to eliminate it in our shows and make it public for people to know about it,
Is
that
what
it's
you
a
were
problem.
Is that what you're talking about, like the fake art coming
Yes,
into it? Is that
if,
what
for
it is?
example, and this is not an example, but for example, this would not be made by, it would be misleading to say, and you know, our artists sign their work, they're signed and numbered. we watch closely. Again, when I go to so many shows, I find this out. And you know, someone like me with so much experience, this is how you find out about it.
Right.
Just knowing everyone and who you work with.
So what do? Just flip it over, and if the artist has their name on it, is that how that works? Or
You
how does that work?
you can, if you're at the event, you can look and ask the artist where it's signed, ask them to show the signature. Yes, some people don't sign it until they sell it because some people like, what I'm told is they like to see the artist sign it right then and there for them.
To make sure it's really them.
Yes, and ethnic diversity. And so our artists are all, everybody from the whole entire different parts of the
Where's the
entire
most faraway
international.
artist? Where's the most faraway artist you've ever had?
Well, we have artists from Asia. We have artists from Mauro Pazzabonelli.
In Belgium, you remember the artist?
Oh, Zaki is
Yes,
from Belgium. He was just there last week.
Great,
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
they're international.
That's really
yeah.
neat. That's neat.
They're
Yes.
all over. And a lot of them, you know, are coming here from other countries and being citizens now. So the art shows give a lot of opportunity for people to be self-employed and to earn a living doing what they love for a living.
Well, let me ask you, and obviously all the artists that you bring in are quality people, but sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, you might bring a lot of the same ones in, but yet you also want your program to be fresh. So how do you decide what's the mix of return artists and new artists that you bring in?
That's a really good question. And juring, pre-show juring, there's two kinds of juring. There's pre-show and then at the show judging for the Artist Awards. It's based on originality, technique, execution, and booth appearance. So everything is online now, and so the jurors sit at their computers and they go through. Every artist has to submit 3 images of their most compelling work and one of their booth demonstration as they would set up at the show. And by looking at the booth, and because I know a lot of people, you can actually tell if they're going to bring, and if they're, it's called bait and switch out there, where if they bring one, show one thing and bring
something
another.
else, yeah.
But that's the importance of someone like me who actually knows people and who goes to the events and sees what they are.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I go to the events and make a whole list of removes, is what I call them, and don't put them in my shows. So they're, you know, we want quality. We want to make sure the work is original and personally handmade. So that's the pre-show judging.
Well, now, since art is your business, your vocation, a lot of people look at art as a, you know, a recreation or avocation. What does Patty do for recreation since she's always doing art?
Well, I do work a lot. You're right. I live in White Lake for the last 30 years with my husband, Jim Sobchak, who is in television production. He directs the NHRA. I also live part-time in Florida because of our Florida shows. I live in Bradenton. So I live right down the street from the Ringling Museum. By the way, the executive director, Stephen High, from the Ringling Museum, one of the top museums in the entire world, judged our Estero Fine Art Show held at Miramar Design Center last year. Yep. So I have connections there. And so what do? I don't get a lot of free time. I have a major, huge backyard. We live on a little teeny lake in Lake Ona, and it's a lot of work. That's how I kind of keep in shape. And then I also do yoga. Yoga has saved me. Anyone who has back problems from
Saves
sitting
a lot
at
of people.
sitting at computers, if you do yoga, it'll resolve it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, that's not Yoga Bear, the cartoon.
No,
is it?
it's
Oh, that's
stretching,
Yogi Bear, I'm sorry.
stretching, stretching.
You guys' show, this
Sorry,
particular
boo-boo.
year, you guys had a lot of food vendors. How does a vendor become a part of it? Do you jury them also? How do they become a part of your show?
That's a really good question. I'm the only show director in the entire nation, besides Kansas City that I know of, that turns down all the traveling food vendors. We, again, quality
I was gonna say,
is our
that
number
going back
one.
to your quality?
I turned down about 300 food vendors. They probably, most of them don't call me anymore, but a couple years ago, we also, those mobile trucks, they're beautiful, whatever, but the ambiance of the event.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
generators smell, they're too far away. We want quality local restaurants. So this year, that's what we had. We limited it to 4. And we had Prime 29 Steakhouse,
Yeah.
which I found out Thursday nights, they have is it Brian Alexander, the Top 40 band? Oh my gosh, is he a party for 8 o'clock Thursdays? Nice, a lot of fun, great. They had sliders. Again, Yardbirds was part of
that's
it.
right. We
Noodles
enjoyed
and
those.
Company was part of it, and then we had Jamaica was part of it. We also had
I think it's time to go to lunch, isn't it?
Detroit Ice Cream, local little business, and Get Juiced from West Bloomfield with smoothies, wonderful smoothies, and the Cheesecake Lady, for the love of cheesecake, as a result of the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show, has her cheesecake in Buddy's Pizza.
Ah, very good.
Yes, so there's a lot of things that come out of this.
Well, we know you got the nice little house on the lake and everything. And Charles, we were talking off camera, the stuff that you do for recreation. Of course, being an old railroad boy, you like to collect model trains.
Right, HO model train.
Yeah,
that's
talk a little bit about that.
my hobby.
I mean, I'm very familiar with it because we were talking being in railroad. But tell a little bit about that, because that's a big thing for a lot of people.
Oh yes, it's very expensive now.
Yes.
You know, I don't buy too much now. You know, I got so much. You know.
Right.
But that was my love, you know, as a kid. You know, I go in my room or go in the basement to set up my trains, you know.
Yes.
That was my time and my space, you know. I let friends and everybody don't touch, you know. And my parents would back me on that, say, do not touch this
You
train.
never worked on a railroad?
No, never.
Okay.
I just love trains, you know. And when I was growing up, you know, for birthdays and Christmas, all my family members would give me money or buy something for my train that would help me create it. Even her nephew got a set for my train collection. They brand new, you know. I took care of it, you know.
My
Plus you
wife's
got the
dad worked
mo-
for DT&I, sorry.
What now,
DT&I Railroad. Do you guys remember that?
Toledo and Iron.
Detroit and Toledo.
He was a railroad cop, so
And she worked for
he
wow.
retired from DT&I.
Who did?
My wife's dad.
Detroit, Toledo, and Iron.
But you know, I got involved with the model subways and rapid transit trains. You know, I still got my regular railroad train, but that became a big thing with me when they brought that out. You know, I got the Walter catalog, you know, out of Milwaukee. You know, I could order from it, you know. So I got a replica of the New York City subway system, which I bought when I lived in New York. I went to the hobby shops there.
Well, as an old railroad boy, that'd be
collectors.
something to
Yes.
see. We only have a few
Different
seconds,
type of
Patty.
collecting.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. But it's all good
and
stuff.
my Motown collection.
And your Motown records.
I collected Motown records as a kid.
I used to collect records too, but it was the Beatles stuff. But
Yeah.
oh, I love that stuff.
I loved all music, but it was that Motown sound. You know?
Absolutely.
Right, Alexander?
Absolutely. Patty, we got a few seconds left. Tell real quick something you'd like the people to know about the Orchard Lake Art Fair.
Well, they're going to see a lot of artists not seen at the other shows in Southeast Michigan. Again, we travel all over the country to recruit artists who are new to the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show and bring a fresh face. It's all about the quality. There's great ambiance with Sheila Landis Trio was music, One Love Reggae Band.
Patty, what kind of sponsorship opportunities do people have if they want to get involved with the show?
Oh, I'd love to have a few sponsors. It's a great community event
And how do they
to
get
be
a hold of
involved with. Hotworks.org. My phone number is 248-684-2613.
All right, beautiful.
And
Don't
the youth
run.
art competition.
What's that?
Can I say something about the youth art competition
Yeah, real quick.
I don't think we touched that. K through 8, Kroger's been sponsoring it. It's where we encourage children to enter their original and personally handmade art that's publicly displayed in the art show the entire weekend. They receive the same 2-foot-long award ribbons that the professional artists receive, 4 of them. There's $250 in youth art awards.
Excellent.
Thank
Couldn't
you.
have said it better, and we're glad to have you both here. Please don't leave. We are going to remember a fallen officer.
Okay.
Folks, if you look on your screen, you will see Sergeant Kenneth Stile of the Detroit Police Department, who was killed in the line of duty on September 17th, 2016. Sergeant Stile had succumbed to a gunshot wound that was sustained on September 12th while chasing a subject who had just attempted to carjack a vehicle. It was found out that this guy had also shot somebody else, I think his father, in the foot. Sergeant Stile pursued the man. He turned and fired a sawed-off shotgun at Sergeant Stile, hitting him in the shoulder. 2 other officers were able to subdue the subject and take him into custody. And he was charged with 2 counts of attempted murder, and unfortunately, he's going to be in several other felonies. Sergeant Stile was transported to hospital and it was believed he was going to recover. And I remember, you may have heard on the radio, they read a letter he had written to the chief of police and to his co-workers at DPD. It was very heartfelt and touching, and he said he couldn't wait to get back to work because they thought he was going to recover. However, he experienced complications and died on September 17th. He had served with DPD for over 20 years. He was assigned to the 9th District. He's survived by his wife and 2 young sons. So please remember this great American hero in your thoughts and your prayers, Sergeant Kenneth Stile of the Detroit Police Department. Remember his brothers and sisters at DPD as well, his wife and his children, and we say, rest in peace, brother. Your memory will never be forgotten. Friends, we thank you for watching West Bloomfield 911. We want to thank our special guest, Patty Narozny, executive producer, and Charles Roberts, event crew captain of Hot Works Orchard Lake Fine Art Fair. Remember, you can catch us on CivicCenterTV.com. You can also go to YouTube and put in West Bloomfield 911. You can get our shows there, and you can watch us on Civic Center TV. If you want to keep in touch with the police department, you can follow us on Twitter, you can like us on Facebook, and if you really want to know what's going on in your community, sign up for Nixle and Crime Mapping for all of the details that we're going to share with you to keep you a well-informed community. I want to thank our special guests once again, and my dear friend David for coming on and doing such a great job with me. Remember, folks, take care of each other, be safe, love one another, for tomorrow is promised to no one. I'm Officer Rick, and we'll see you again on West Bloomfield 911.